guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to do the final flip through of this folio with a little sort of small journal that's with it. So we did a lot of this on video together, so a lot of it might be familiar to you guys anyway. I've just bound it here with some black ribbon, so we can just take the ribbon out of the way completely. And then basically it opens up like this, and I'll just kind of show you the back. So the back is just plain. This is the whole book page collage sheet that we did together, and then I've kind of reinforced it with some other paper and wrapped it round. I've reinforced where it folds with some lace, and then on the cover we collaged up some bits and pieces, which again I think we did do that together on video. One of my little ribbon pieces with the wax seals and some applique there, and yeah, this little journaling piece here. It's got some kind of what do you call those, you know, I don't know, rough edges, I suppose I would call it. Again, I quite like that look, so I've left them like that. But I do just want to kind of point it out that, you know, it's quite a grungy kind of rough and ready type folio. So I, yeah, just want to kind of point that out really. So sorry, just trying to make a bit more room to fit it in, because it's hard to obviously fit the whole thing into the camera. So when it opens up, obviously we've got this side of the folio flap, which again, I just decorated up with some lace and then some applique down here. And then we open it out completely like that. So on this side, again, we did some of this on camera. So we've got here a foldy flap, which on the top I put one of my journal cards from the Vintage Tanners kit. We've got some lace top and bottom, a little faux stamped piece there and there, and then this vintage image of this clock face. And then I tucked in the side of that a genuine vintage postcard. So this has got a lot of combination of genuine vintage things with printables and yeah, various kind of things like that. So that's a genuine vintage postcard. And then we open that out, and then tucked in here, so this is, you know, the other side of the envelope. Again, another genuine vintage piece. This is a postcard and it's dated 1919, so it's nice and old. Oh, I can't really see. Something or other, the Queen Elizabeth. Yeah. So anyway, the boat there, so that's on like that. And then on here, again, just layered up some bits, collaged up here. And I've just tucked in a little ticket there from my little faux stamped pieces, set one there. And then on this side, this is a pocket. And again, created another pocket here with a piece from the Vintage Tanners kit. And this is, again, from a book. It's a book. I can't remember the date of the book, but it's not overly vintage. It's maybe like the 80s or something. But obviously it's a book of vintage adverts. So that just tucks in like that, and it holds this flap closed. So we've got here, again, some more vintage kind of book page, little faux stamped piece there. And then this closes. You've got one of the Vintage Tanner frames there and dictionary definition, and then that's held closed with here with the journal card. And then again here a couple of genuine vintage postcards. These were from one of those, you know, where you tear out the postcards like a postcard book, so they've still got the little serrated edge there where they've been torn out from the book. But I thought that colour wise they went really quite nicely in here as well, so they just go in there. And then we made just a very basic journal. So the journal is attached in here with elastic. So you can obviously take the journal out or you can leave it in, but it just slips under the elastic, so like that. And the journal itself, it's again just covered with a couple of bits of paper. So it's not, you know, it's not a really thick, heavy, you know, what's the word, like strong journal. It's, you know, it's made from paper essentially. And then I just reinforced it with this lace, so lace at the front there and then going right the way round at the back, so it looks super pretty. And then you've just got some black applique up there. One of those little pieces that, again, we made these on video, and it's just like a little framed piece, like a framed locket. with this vintage photograph in there, and then we've got some lace under there, and it's been stitched around on the sewing machine. And then when you open this up, I've just got here a little pocket with a vintage Tanner's journal card tucked in there. This has got a vintage book image there of the clock, and then you've got just a butterfly on there and some lace coming out at the side. Here we've just got a couple of pieces tucked into this piece. This is just from my Curator's Collection portraits, and we've got some lace down there, and then we've got just a couple of bits tucked in here like that. And then we turn it over. This is an envelope, obviously, so we've got a cluster up here again. You've got a piece there from the vintage Tanner's and one of my faux stamped images, and then tucked in here we've just got here a coffee dyed copy of some vintage paperwork, so that just tucks in to the envelope like that. And then you've just got some lovely digi paper there from the vintage Tanner's kit, a copy of some vintage letter there which has all been coffee dyed, and then you've just got some coffee dyed journal page there for journaling. And then we've got this gorgeous envelope. I love how this envelope turned out. So this is just some scrapbook paper, just made this envelope and then collaged up some bits on here. It looks gorgeous, doesn't it, with this lace and some stamping and things. And then one of my heart embellishments, again, we made these on video. And then inside there, I just tucked a little faux vintage cigarette card. So that just goes in there. And again, that cigarette card is from the vintage Tanner's as well. Some copy of a vintage letter, and here this is some fly sheet from a book. Again, it's a vintage book. Then here we've just got one of those foldy flip pieces like that, and that just tucks in like that, and then just some lace under there. And then here we've just got a little cluster, and that cluster is just holding in a couple of pieces here like that. So I mean, you've got quite a lot of journaling space in here, even though it's quite a basic journal. There's a lot of journaling space. Again, here's one of those title sheets from a book, vintage book, little envelope flat there, some vintage sheet music, piece of vellum which I just thought again coordinated really nicely, another coffee dyed copy of a vintage letter, and some greaseproof paper, so it's quite a crinkly, nice tactile journal. Some more vintage coffee dyed paper. This is some vintage document. It's the original and it has been coffee dyed. And then some more coffee dyed paper, the rest of that greaseproof paper, the letter, the vellum, the sheet music. And then here obviously we've got that envelope. So again, I've got here another piece from the Curator's Collection portraits, another applique up here. And then here I just tucked in a piece from the vintage Tanner's, which I've just kind of cut in half and just made a little foldy piece, like it's a bit of stationery kind of tucked in there. Oops, and there's also a, whoops. Oh, no, it's now glued onto here. Oh, this is so annoying. Right, okay. Oh dear, now look, I've torn that. Oh, the amount of times that things like this happen. So I'm just going to just ink that up to try and disguise that. Okay, so I mean, that has now got a little tear in there, so I do apologise for that. Yeah, let me just ink it up a little bit more. Hopefully it just adds to the vintage feel, but yeah, I do want to point out that obviously that was completely unintentional and I did then just tear it. But that's another faux cigarette card, which again is from the vintage Tanner's, and that just slots into the envelope. And then obviously you've got the back of the envelope just for journaling, the rest of that title page from the book, another cluster up here with another cigarette card from the vintage Tanner's, and then more journaling space here. And then here we've just got one of my vintage ticket pieces, and this one here is from my glue book favourites. I think it's set 1. Another piece there from the Curator's Collection, but the Timepieces collection. And then this here, this is a vintage, genuine original vintage piece. I don't know really what this is. Oh, it says Certificate of Serving Holy Mass. It's from 1960. It actually feels and looks older than that, to be honest. But yeah, it's the original. So that just tucks in there. I thought that was quite nice. More journaling space, the rest of that vintage letter. And then here, these are from a vintage book. And again, they're just plain on the back. So I thought they were quite nice to include because then you've got the journaling space on the back. And they're just paper clipped on there. Again, that gorgeous vintage Tanner's paper, which I just love that. A little cluster on here, and obviously you could journal on there. And then this is the inside of the back cover. Just made a little pocket here. Again, put one of those images of the grandfather clock from a vintage book. And then just a journaling card, big journaling card from the vintage Tanner's kit. Some lace and some applique there. And yeah, that's the whole journal. So as I say, that just slips under that elastic. So, you know, you can take it out, you can have it separate, you know, or put it in, up to you. So I'm just going to move the folio across. Okay, so going across, we have got then, we've got three or four envelopes as like kind of folded pages. So let's put them all this way round so that we can work our way across. So here we've got that double pocket thing going on. I think we kind of created this section on film together. So you've just got a card there from the vintage Tanner's kit that just slots in there. This is some of that vintage ads there. A little number, and this again is that lovely book page that I made. This is some vintage book page here. And then this again, it's another genuine vintage postcard. And then a couple more of the journaling cards from the vintage Tanner's kit. And that all just slots in there. And then on here, we've got obviously envelope number 1. So I just created a pocket here with a genuine vintage postcard and collaged up some bits on here and some lace. And there you've got, again, a genuine vintage photograph and another one of those vintage cigarette cards from the vintage Tanner's kit. And then going over, we've got a flap out from an envelope here. And again, collaged up some bits and pieces. And then inside there, I just put one of my big numbers. So that just slots in like that. And then here again, you know, more collaging and things going on here. And then again, tucked into this envelope, another, original vintage photograph there. So again, you know, lots of room for journaling space and things. And just a collage of things going on the inside of the envelope too, and some lace trim up here. This one, I love how this page looks. It's just gorgeous. So I used this vintage photograph here, and I've glued it down like a pocket, and it's kind of just slotted under this frame. We've got some collaging going on. Love how this looks, and what a super gorgeous photograph there of that little boy. And then tucked into that pocket, I've again just got another one of those little foldy flips. So again, this kind of coordinates with the one that's in the little journal, and I've just popped on a butterfly on the flap. So that just tucks in like that with the flap kind of over. And then going over, we've got some collaged pieces on here. And then tucked in to that envelope, again, some more of that vintage Tanner's paper, which I just cut in half, again, as if it were, you know, a piece of stationery. And then we also have a little foldy flip just from some scrapbook paper. And again, I just popped some elements onto the front of there for decorative details and some lace trim. So more journaling space with those bits there. And then we've got a little envelope here. So again, just collaged up some bits and popped a pocket on there with a little number. And I've just popped in some of my faux stamped images there into that pocket. Again, more collaging going on here, and then tucked into the side. Oops. Oh, let me just quickly glue that. Oh dear. Glue that Eiffel Tower down. Okay, so that's now glued down. So here we've got, again, just used some scrapbook paper, just a kind of offcut really, and just made a little foldy out booklet, and that just slots in here like that. Okie dokie. And then on this side, I love how this looks. I've got this gorgeous grandfather clock here, Again, image from the vintage book, some lace and some collage in. And then I love this side even more with this gorgeous carriage clock, and some lace trim and things, and one of my faux stamps. And then tucked in to the side, I have this copy of a vintage letter. So this vintage letter tucks in. I'll have to remember how I fold this. Right. So it all tucks into here, if you see what I mean. So it folds out like so. It's copied front and back, so it's exactly mimicking the original. And then, yeah, fold it all up like that. And then this piece tucks in to here. And again, like I say, this is mimicking the original. So I've folded it as per the original piece. So yeah, really, really nice. And obviously the original had a wax seal on there. So that just goes in like that. And then on this side, we've got this little foldy flap here. So that's held down with a paper clip, and it just folds out like that. And then on here, we've just got, again, just a couple of, you know, details. This vintage kind of ad, and then some book page and a little butterfly. This is not a pocket, which actually that's kind of unusual, but I haven't done it as a pocket. But yeah, it's not a pocket. And then tucked in here, which actually is a pocket. And then behind there, we've got another one of those vintage copy of a vintage cigarette card. But tucked into this pocket, again, I've got another one of the vintage postcards, again with the serrated edge where it's been torn from the postcard book. And then here, I just included another piece from the Vintage Tanners background pages. And it's double-sided like that. I just thought it was so lovely. I just wanted to kind of include it. And on the back, of course, you know, although it is detailed, I think you could probably get away with journaling over that if you used, you know, maybe a black Sharpie or something like that. So yeah, so that all tucks in there. So I mean, you've actually got a surprising amount of space, because I mean, don't forget, you've got all of these bits here, and you also still have that, you know, the journal. So yeah, I hope that you like it. I had such a great time making it. I love making these folios, and I say this all the time. Really, really love making them. They're one of my favourite things to make. And you can just really go to town and kind of really just do amazing, you know, lovely things, and let your creativity just, you know, completely flow. So yeah, I had a wonderful time. It was really nice also mixing the vintage with the non-vintage. And of course, it was lovely using those, you know, whole book page collage sheets. So yeah, hope that you like it. And like I say, it will be in my Etsy shop. I do have a waiting list, so I will be going down the waiting list. But, you know, if for any reason the people on the waiting list don't want it, then obviously it will be available in my shop. And I will put in the title whether it is for sale or whether it's sold. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day, and see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.